When one ping-pong is off the table, another takkyuu its place. I'm your Otakutainment, the theacstories for this Otakutainment reviews. I'm going to be talking about table tennis terror. I'm going to be talking about Shunrai Table Tennis or Shunrai卓球by Masahiro Hirakata, who is also known for Debbie the Corsifa wa Makezugirai, Best Blue, Double Bullet, Shinmai Fuke Kiruko-san, Koroshiya, Ogamiya ni Naru, and 31 Heroes. A nice long track record. Now, there is no translator or letter for this series. Cool, we know what that means. Anyways, this is going to be the first chapter, or the first rally, Spring and Thunder, at 61 pages. Pretty typical length for a first chapter. It came out on December 25th, 2025 on Shonen Jump Plus / Manga Plus. The summary that we get from Manga Plus, at least, is Mirai Todoroki, a freshman at Arashino Girls High School, is petite but has a deep passion for table tennis. She once had the skill to compete at the national level, but after suffering a crushing defeat against a player with overwhelming talent during her middle school years, she gave up the sport. Then one day, a transfer student named Oka Harusaki joins the table tennis club. Yeah, and that's the summary. Now, this one does slightly different than what I normally see from descriptions, where it pretty much gives a backstory of the main character, and then nothing else. We get a hint about Oka Harusaki, obviously coming, going to spur more inspiration. It's a pretty typical kind of story, especially for sports manga. But yeah, we don't actually know what this story's going to be about except for table tennis, of course. Since Mirai's background is pretty well covered in that description, which is kind of a reason I don't really need to read the description most of the time. It kind of makes me feel better knowing I can go in completely buying the series, but the description doesn't tell me much more about the story itself, so I guess it works out here. We get a little bit kind of like a rumor, gossipy spread from other members of the table tennis club about Mirai, but other parts of the backstory is spread out throughout this chapter, so it's not just info dump right away. And how it's done is kind of interesting enough, where seems like gossip to these other new students about who Mirai is. That way it's not just, oh, why are you randomly telling us about this character just because it's the main character. So it makes some sense. Mirai is only in this club as a coach, but there is an adult teacher supervisor. I don't know if this person's going to matter. It could be, but probably not, because who cares about adults in these kind of stories. But next, we meet Oka, who transfers only to come and find Mirai to be rivals. And a very brief chase scene pretty much starts, but we end up at not McDonald's, something with a W maybe, and we learn more about Mirai that's not actually in the description. Something how like Mirai was called the Thunder Princess of Wavy Clouds, and having like a lightning like moves and stuff like that, but was knocked out in the first round by the person who won overall. So even though Oka seems like will be the rival, wants to be a rival, and it's kind of antagonistic this first chapter, ultimately it seems like the big bad of the series, if we ever get there, is going to be whoever this won overall. It does make sense as a crushing defeat if this is a person who won overall, but to lose in the first round, yeah, disheartening, but at least the person who beat you also won in the end. So I feel a little better about that maybe. But yeah, this is where Mirai realized just a ordinary player, and that's it. Which probably not. It's just, the crushing defeat right away. It probably wouldn't have been as bad if you faced the same person in the very last round. But maybe so. Who knows? But yeah, Mirai swears to never play table tennis again, which, when you're like that, well, how are you coaching? I'm pretty sure we even see Mirai kind of doing a little table tennis-y stuff in the beginning, but why are you coaching at all if you don't want to even play at all or doing it? And the excuse is, well, they asked me. And it's like, of course. And of course we know that's going to break, because what is this series? It would be an interesting series if Mirai only just coached. It would be something a little different. Even though there is a different manga in the Seinen magazine about a fighter, promoter, a ranger, stuff like that, who doesn't fight anymore, still fights, but that's not the main appeal of the story. Something like that could work too, where it is just Mirai being a student coach and just doing that. That'd be interesting. A different kind of story, but probably not what people would actually want in a shonen manga. So yeah, we go back to Mirai's home. We meet one parent who is a university table tennis coach. We just see no real proof of that mattering in this first chapter. And then the other parent is working night shifts. Typical, we need an excuse for there mainly only be one parent because I guess manga can't keep both parents for some reason. I don't know. Anyways, so we get a dream from Mirai that reveals even more details about growing up with table tennis and starting at age 5, kind of this fiery, somewhat violent, tomboy-esque kid, getting picked on a lot for being small, but really just grew to love table tennis. Knew how to get good at it, but then going back, losing in that match without making a single point, a little bit of new information. And then after that, overhearing that same coach parent being like, oh, if only Mirai had more talent. It's like, oh. And also blaming Mirai for being short too, or not being as well-rounded. Maybe that is a coach perspective, but I'm also thinking, like, this dream may not be totally accurate. It may just be Mirai's insecurities because it is a dream. It's just reflecting all that stuff. And apparently, when we learn, it's only been half a year from, I guess, this happening to now. So the wound is still kind of pretty fresh. I, at first, was under the impression this happened a while ago, but I think Mirai is only first year in high school, and I guess if this happened into middle school. So yeah, it's a fresh wound, but also to be like, I'm never going to play again, and then be like, half a year later, you're playing again. It didn't stick to that very long. So now the antagonistic Oka comes to challenge Mirai. Typical thing. It seems like the thing that is always the challenge is like, oh, play me one more time, and if I beat you, you keep playing more or whatever, and if you don't, then I'll leave you alone. That seems to always be the bet. But also starts taunting Mirai too. Eventually Mirai, of course, agrees because, of course. And Oka's doing well. It's revealed to be an unorthodox offensive defensive player, mainly defensive, really great at blocking, and then at some point is able to switch and do some points. We mainly just see the blocking though. And is also saying Mirai is rusty, even though at first Oka is the one losing. I think just loses the first point, but still being just egging Mirai on. And it works a bit. And then it starts to backfire. Mirai starts losing hope. And Oka says, well, this is kind of sad if you're going to just be like this. Maybe you should just quit. Then Mirai goes back, remembers the past from a kid and 10 years of doing this and spending so much money on a paddle, which I have seen is a real thing for these little bitty paddles. Anyways, and Mirai snaps out of that pity party and is able to turn the match around. That's kind of disappointing. What happened to Oka being pretty good? I still was hoping Oka would win. I thought there was going to be more to it, but no, Mirai just turns it around and get kind of like a crazy eye bit. And we see the win with lightning bolt. Not even anything cooler than that, just lightning bolt. And then when we're about to switch sides, Mirai starts hyperventilating from overexerting, overstimulation. I would think more than just overexertion. I mean, we saw how crazy Mirai was looking. And then, the biggest shock of all, Oka just smooches Mirai. It's like, and there's a bit of a freak out from everyone. And you're like, oh, is this going to be a big deal? Are we getting Yuri? No, it moves on to that almost immediately. I think it was literally smooch. One panic panel, one panic panel. Hey, let's move on to just, let's play more. Hey, you like table tennis, let's play more. Let's not address this at all. And maybe it will be in future chapters. But we're just left hanging with that. And then it ends with some silhouettes of people who are going to be rivals. Probably not. From my experience, when we get silhouettes like this, it doesn't fucking matter. Because normally they don't last that long to get that far. Maybe I'll be wrong this time and we will actually meet each one of these silhouettes. So yeah, this was a pretty typical first chapter, or a lot of similar tropes. Literally just down to some sayings and how events work out. It's just all typical, but it's nothing bad. Like, It's easy to read. It's easy to get through. The art is nice. It's also standard. The action shots can be kind of cool, but they're usually kind of cutesy more. And I'm not saying it takes away from it, but it's like, okay, it's kind of a cutesy action. You know, I will say when Mirai was kind of going a little crazy, there was some like actually cool action shots with a little bit of intensity to them. But yeah, pretty just bog standard sports thing. And I'm making jabs at, Ping-Pong peril was here. That one kind of got a little weird and wild. I don't think this one was going to do that. I think it'll be more also just standard sports, which is fine too. It doesn't have to go crazy, but it's like, I don't know what this is going to be that will make it stand out from anything else. I'm still going to read it. I'm probably still going to enjoy it. Maybe it'll be the cutesy characters that people are going to like. Probably will be. Especially ending this with a smooch and then never addressing it. Cool. Well, I will see where that goes. Last thing, as usual, is the title, Shunrai Table Tennis. It translates to Spring Thunder Table Tennis. I thought it would have been funny. It would have been Table Tennis Terror. Table Tennis Trouble. Something like that. Keep that alliteration. Also, like I said, Ping-Pong peril. That was just here not that long ago. Kind of the same. I mean, it's the same sport. But straightforward, I guess. I don't know, mention the chapter title too. It just reinforces the Shunrai, Spring and Thunder. Spring, I don't know if Shunrai itself is going to be used somewhere in the series, but spring, I think it's the beginning of the school year, so it should still be spring. And then the Thunder is Mirai, kind of nickname for that. So that's where we're getting that. Kind of straightforward, but it's trying to be a little bit poetic, I guess. But we'll see what. I don't know. Shunrai might be an actual name or nickname that is being used, and it's just not being translated completely or accurately because whoever is translating, whatever is translating, I don't know. But that's all I have to say about Shunrai Table Tennis by Masahiro Hirakata. Let me know what you thought. If you're reading it, if you think you're going to enjoy it, if it is, have the same opinions as me, different opinions, let's talk about it more. You can leave comments. You can find me on social media, theacstories. You can email me. You can join my Discord. We can talk about all kinds of stuff there. Links will be easy to find to do all of that, but that's going to be it. Thank you anyone who watches. Thank you especially to my Ko-fi and Patreon supporters, Vic Slab and Julio Vasquez. You also want to support me, you can do it there. You get the shoutouts, you get notes to videos like this, you get stories I write, all kinds of stuff, but that's it. So thank you. I've been your Otakutainment, theacstories. Until next time, bye.